Hey there, so today we are going to cover how to start Scrapy project, so let's begin right away. The first thing that you need to do is open terminal. So in my case I go to the right click and then open terminal. Then if we maximize the output and type in Scrapy, you will see a bunch of commands. The first one is the Scrapy version. The second thing is if there are any active projects. This message would be different, of course, if we were in our root directory or aka if we created Scrapy project. The very next message is the usage. Here we always have to run Scrapy command first and then print out the command that we want to use, options, and finally arguments. As you will see throughout this course, using really Scrapy is fairly simple and easy. And let's see, so the very next thing is available commands. So here we have a bunch of commands. The first one is bench. I rarely use this command, to be honest, and it's mainly used for benching out or really figuring out the exact performance of your Spider code. The very second thing is command fetch. This will pretty much fetch URL, as you can see, using the Scrapy downloader, or in other words, it will just open the URL with Scrapy. The third thing is GenSpider. This will be used, so it's going to generate a new spider, really, with the template. So Scrapy has a bunch of templates. We will mostly use their default one, but they offer also crawl template for crawling the entire site and then printing out all of the different rules that you would like to get, or the pages that you would like to crawl. The fourth option is Run Spider. This will be covered in the separate video that I will record, and it's mainly used when you have some simple, maybe Scrapy projects, or when you would like to simplify the Scrapy structure. The settings, this will just print out different Scrapy settings. Shell is one of the most well-known Scrapy features, and it will be heavily used whenever we develop any kind of Scrapy project to test out or really to see if data points are there and to test out our code in general in small pieces and then copy and paste the output or really the commands that we write in our shell to the Scrapy code. Start project, this will be covered in a minute or so, and it will be our first command that we will input in Scrapy, and it will obviously, this command stands for starting or creating a new project. Then Scrapy version, so if we type in, for example, Scrapy version, you will see that we will get this message, so it's 1.1.2, and then the last command is view, so this will open URL in browser as seen by Scrapy. This will also be heavily used. The reason why you would like to use view is to figure out what actually Scrapy sees. So opening URLs with Scrapy and with your, for example, Chrome will be different sometimes, especially in JavaScript heavy pages. Just remember that. So if you go to the Scrapy shell and test out, I don't know, this quote that you would like, for example, to scrape, and if data is not there, even if you wrote a couple of different selectors, then just make sure to use Scrapy view command to figure out if the data is actually there, because on JavaScript heavy pages, the data will not be sometimes generated or seen really by Scrapy. That's about it. So let's first thing is that we are going to do really is start a project. So to do that we type in, or first let's actually change the directory to our desktop so you can see the folder that Scrapy will generate here. To change the directory we type in cd and then desktop, and here we have, or currently we are in our desktop. And first command, as I was saying, is going to be Scrapy. Then you can pretty much copy and paste this command. So Scrapy start project, and the command or option that you want to use is just the name of the spider. which will be quotes underscore spider, for example. Hit enter and you will see the message that new project is created, and that we can start or create our first spider by first changing directory into the quote spider, so in this folder, and then finally generating spider. So let's navigate to the quotes spider. So if we copy and paste this command, hit enter, you will see that currently we are in the quote spider. So if we go to the folder, and for example, let's go back to our terminal and type in right now Scrapy, you will see that we get project is quote spider, whereas previously we had no active projects. And pretty much the way that you know that you are in the root directory is by looking where the .cfg or scrapy.cfg file is. This is the configuration file that Scrapy is going to be pretty much by default, it's going to create it. This will be covered a bit later on in a bit more details. The very next thing that Scrapy will generate is the folder, which is going to be the name of the spider. And then here we have a bunch of different files, as you will see, and these also are going to be covered in a bit more details later on. Init.py, items.py, pipelines, and settings. These are fairly really simple and beneficial to whenever you want to create some more complex Scrapy spiders, especially the settings.py file, as you will see throughout this course. And the spiders is the last thing that we will cover here, and spiders is just the folder, and here we don't get any kind of really files or spider files, Python files, whatever. We get just the init.py, so if we open it with our preferred text editor, you will see that it's actually just empty or commented out 2 sentences, which is pretty much nothing, right? To generate spider, we will go back to our terminal and type in then Scrapy, and then gen spider, so which will generate new spider using predefined templates. So copy and paste this command. And then the 2 options or arguments that we need to input is first the name of the spider. So let's say we want to name our spider quotes. And then second thing is the domain that we are going to scrape, or the site. So to do that, we go to the Chrome and then pretty much copy and paste this site that we would like to scrape. Paste it in here, and let's remove the HTTP part, and then we just hit enter really. And as you can see, we get message that that spider is created. And if we go to the spiders folder, you'll see that quotes.py is going to be generated. So if we open it with text editor, you will see the code is going to be pretty much, this would be the default code that Scrapy will auto-generate for the default template that we in this case used. So let's, for example, just generate another one. So Scrapy gen spider, I don't know, example, and let's use example.com as a domain. Hit enter, and if we type in, for example, Scrapy list, so this command, as you can see, it will list out all of the available spiders. You will see that we will get 2 rows, or aka 2 different spiders. So Scrapy list, hit enter, and you will see that we have example and quotes. If we go back to the folder, you will see that in spiders folder we have now examples.py, the init.py file, which was initially there, and also quotes.py file. So if we go to the example.py, you will see that code is pretty much going to be or stays the same. The class name will be different, and also the name of the spider and allow domains and start URLs will be different, while all of the rest logic such as method function name will stay the same. And that would be pretty much it for this video. In the very next video, we are going to start actually scraping something interesting on this file, so stay tuned.